Okay, I am going to call to order the meeting of the mayor and council for Monday, December 19th, 2016. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Present are Mayor Marion Galbraith, Deputy Mayor Keith Hedrick, Councilors Andrew Alvento, Jill Rusk, Stephen Sheffield, Conrad Heath, Finance Director Ron Uhas, Clerk Deborah Patrick, excused is Councilor Lawrence Garish.
Thank you very much. Please stand to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Recognitions, awards, and memorials. Receipt of citizens' petitions and comments. And we're going to skip right over the response to citizens' petitions and comments and go to approval of minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the December 5th, 2016 mayor and council meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining. Communications and reports. Councilor Ilvento.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the Special Committee of the Whole on December 12th, and that's it.
Yeah, we should have had those minutes, but it's not on the agenda, so we can, at the end, vote to amend the agenda to do the minutes for the December 12th meeting.
I have the minutes here.
I know you have them, but it wasn't on our agenda, posted on
okay.
our agenda.
Okay.
Right.
So at the end of the meeting, we can move to amend the agenda to add the minutes for them, do it, and we could do it. Okay?
For the interruption.
Got it? Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Counselor
That's it.
Ilvento. Okay. Counselor Rusk.
No report.
Counselor Sheffield.
No report.
Counselor Heed.
No report.
Deputy Mayor Hedrick.
Hey, I have a couple things. This is a busy period. On Wednesday, December 7th, I attended the joint Economic Development Commission and the Harbor Management Commission meeting. And then after that, the Economic Development Commission meeting on, was it? Oh, sorry. On Thursday, December 8th, I attended a Harbor Management Commission meeting. On the Saturday the 10th, I attended a celebration at Fort Griswold in the Ebenezer Avery House. And Saturday evening, I attended a public safety fundraiser where Jim Streeter and Bill Tischer had their book, The Groton Mystic Emergency Services, and they talked about that. On Thursday, December 15th, I helped at the Jim and Moran Food Center to help get food ready for the next day that was delivered. And then on the Thursday night, on the 15th, I attended the captain's Christmas party over at the Nautilus, and that was a lot of fun. And then yesterday, I had the privilege of attending the formal welcome home and freedom salute ceremony in honor of the 1109th Theater Aviation Sustainment Maintenance Group, Connecticut Army National Guard. They came back in August from a 10-month deployment, but the official award ceremony and welcome home and Christmas party for their children was yesterday in the morning and through the day, and it was just a wonderful ceremony, very exciting. And a lot of times we talk about the Navy because they're here, and we spend a lot of time talking about them. Sometimes we forget about the National Guard and the things that they do. They were foreign deployed, and they were doing helicopter maintenance and resets over on station for 10 months. So, and that's all I have.
Thank you very much. City Clerk Deb Patrick.
I have nothing.
Finance Director Ron Uhas.
I just wanted to give you an update on the 640 Long Hill Road property. That property, we did finally close on that, and that was sold on December 5th.
That was that postage stamp behind the shopping center.
The new Aldi's, right?
Correct.
It was-
Yeah.
But kind of back by, right on the side of the Goodwill behind the
Right,
big store
right.
there.
Okay, thank you very much. I have a couple of things I'll report on. On Tuesday, December 6th, I gave a presentation to Thrive, which was the Southeastern Connecticut Cultural Coalition annual meeting or annual conference, and that was on Sub-Century. And also that day attended the Admiral's Holiday Reception at the Coast Guard Academy. I attended the Pearl Harbor observance that was held at the Sub Memorial on December 7th, and the Economic Development Commission, where we had a joint meeting, first of the Economic Development Commission and members of the Harbor Management. We have been having our meetings with the town, with the police department, so we had our third meeting on December 8th. And on, let's see, December 10th, I attended the Friends of Fort Griswold event at the Monument House. It was really a very nice first event. It was really very nice.
Wonderful, yeah.
And Henry Alves says it's the first
Really?
annual. So we look forward to that again. On December 12th, I attended the press conference that EB held on their apprenticeship program, and it's really great to see that back in force. That'll be a great opportunity for people who are gearing up to move up the chain and learn more things at EB. On December 13th, I attended the last luncheon for Subvets World War II. They were sundown that week, and I attended the very last luncheon. It was very nice, but it was very sad. For me, anyway. On December 14th, I attended the sub-school centennial graduation. The very first sub-school graduation was held on December 23rd in 1916. This was the closest one. Nobody was waiting until the 23rd. So I attended that and had a tour of the sub-school and all the training facilities. On December 15th, I went to the final sundowning event for Subbase World War II chapter at the Dealey Center, and that was really very nicely done. They had 6 of the 7 remaining World War II veterans who are part of the program, and they read their bios. It was really a very nice event. And went to the Subbase holiday event that evening. On December 16th, I worked at the mobile food pantry at St. John's Christian Church. So I have invited to be with us today Sue Blanchette, and Chief Nixon is also here from the Groton Long Point Police Department. If you don't mind just pulling up a chair over here so that you could be on the mic. This is an informational session for you. At some point, there will probably be an action item. But at this point, they're going to talk about the IT services that we will be able to provide to the Groton Long Point Police Department, which I think is wonderful. And Sue, thank you. Thank you for taking the lead on this. Appreciate it.
Groton Long Point Police Department, a small department, as you probably know, nonetheless has to comply with CJIS requirements that the city of Groton has to comply with, as well as all others. And they have a very small force. They don't have an IT department. And we feel that we can leverage the expertise and resources of our IT department in order to assist them to meet their compliance requirements. Initially, our first phase of the project would be to replace a very aged server and potentially host either in a virtual environment or physical environment here at the municipal building. And they already have a connection that they can make to us. And at that point, we would also be able to support their very small network of 4 workstations. So that's the initial phase that we're looking at. We're looking at various options in order to be able to do that appropriately for them. It would need to be approved by their board. So we'll be working on that portion of it. We have tentative approval. But the final plan obviously requires their approval. And at that point, we'll be able to deliver an agreement for those managed services, what we would be able to provide to the Groton Long Point PD.
So I wanted you to be aware of it because when it goes to the Groton Long Point Association, we wanted to make sure that you knew about it if you hear about it, so that you're not ever blindsided. But I think it's a great opportunity to be able to work together and to be able to support your police department. We enjoy a fine IT department here, and we're very, very fortunate to have them, and I'm glad they're going to be able to help you as well.
Just briefly, if I could, thank you for even, one, entertaining the thought. We consistently and constantly speak of mutually working together partnerships. This is one of those opportunities if it does come to fruition. I certainly look forward to trying to put this together and make it work. for any of us, whether if it's a big community or a small community such as I work in at the current time. IT services, everything from the actual physical environment to servers and virtual storage, and you can correct me on everything I say wrong on the technical side of the house.
I do that myself all the time.
That's it. And
Do we want to be
with
in the cloud or not? Well, I don't
exactly.
know.
And with the mandates that have come down as of the last couple of years, and we're slowly closing in on some of those windows even more at this point as far as timeframes, I do have to make some decisions on behalf of the association, and obviously I go through them for the final support and decision on that piece for me, but I do have to look at what's out there. Part of it came through an open discussion one day with the chief when we were at a meeting that we're both attending. Spoke extremely highly, no pressure, Sue, or for yourself or your staff, but sincerely touted very much the services of and the capabilities of your staff. If there's something that we can work on together, I would certainly thank you for that opportunity. And I'm open to any question. Again, this is just the initial piece, but thank you.
Questions, comments? Yes, Councilor
Well,
Avento.
Thank you, Mayor. I know that we just went through this whole process of having to overhaul everything based on new state regulations, so I'm sure that you're in good hands because I'm guessing you oversaw all of that too. Just curious about cost. Is there going to be any cost inflicted on the city, or would Groton Long Point?
Groton Long Point would incur the cost.
It's on.
Okay, thank you.
Deputy Mayor Hedrick.
Not a question as much as a comment. The city of Groton and Groton Long Point have always shared a positive relationship, and I think this is a way that we can continue that positive relationship, and we can leverage off the expertise that we already have and the things that we have, processes that we have in place, and that'll only further solidify the relationship that we have with Groton Long Point, and I think this is a good thing.
Thank you, sir.
Other questions or comments? Sue, would you be willing, I know this wasn't on the agenda, but to just talk a little bit about what the plans are to meet the CJIS requirements for our own police department?
Certainly.
It's been a while since the council has heard.
Okay, in August 2014, we were actually, I believe, Chief, you can correct me on this, we were the first municipality in Connecticut to have our CJIS audit.
We were the first of 8 to have a federal CJIS audit.
And we actually fared quite well. We did have a few items of concern, and we're addressing those with the building of the new data center. That project will begin moving forward in January. Yay! So we're going to get started on that finally. But in that conversation was part of the discussion on how we could assist Groton Long Point when we segment the Groton City Police from the main network. So that's one of the final remaining pieces, is to section them off from the main network and remove all of the police department email currently stored in the cloud to local storage. That was the only remaining item that we need to have in order to comply. There will be a cost associated with that, and it won't be minor. It certainly will be a significant cost to bring their email back and store it locally. However, we are given a pass for the time being until the time comes that we have the data center.
And that will physically be located in the basement.
Correct.
There's going to be like a small room built in the basement. It's actually a modular room that will be moved into the basement, and that's where the server will be.
It's a prefabricated room. It was a little difficult to find a room that could accommodate the specs for the fire suppression system that's required, because that does require pressurization, and it has to be sturdy enough to withstand the pressurization. But we have found a manufacturer that can do that, and we currently have a quote. The cost to use a prefab room is far less expensive than having to build a room from scratch. So that's an advantage for us, because we don't have another room that we can use. So it's a great advantage for us to be able to use a prefab. And it's going to be located near the existing telco drop, which would be in this back corner of the building. So the wiring that we've already done to separate the police department is already in place. It actually works out well for us.
Councilor Rusk.
Does the prefab room keep it safe from flooding? I know we've had flooding in the basement before.
It's raised.
Okay, thank you.
That's a critical concern of ours. So it will be raised up. It actually, the ceiling of the prefab room will actually be touching the bottom of the beams at 12 feet high. So that we can accommodate that. There'll have to be a ramp, obviously, but we have to raise it up off the floor.
Thank you. Yes, Counselor Heath.
Are we required to keep that here, or is it something that can be off-site or outsourced or anything of that nature?
The data center?
Mhm.
Well, there's a couple of ways that you can look at it. We have the infrastructure in place in order to keep it here. To outsource it, there would be an expense involved. And in many cases, the problem that CGIS has is with outsourcing, because when you do that, every person who has access has to pass the federal fingerprint-based criminal background check. We've already done that here. Everyone here that can physically touch any of that equipment or has access to any of that data has been through that. We've actually had to have vendors go through that when they have remote access to support their systems. So when you're outsourcing, there are very few firms that you can outsource to that would be approved and accepted by CGIS. So with the infrastructure in place, it really makes more sense to keep it here.
So from a risk mitigation point of view,
Absolutely.
you minimize, you're controlling your risk here. You also have full control of anybody that would touch it, and then I assume the security requirements are similar to that FBI background checks and fingerprints and go through the database, similar to getting a security clearance. So, and those are quite stringent.
Absolutely. Everyone in the department, including myself, had to go through them because we can touch, physically touch, or touch through the network. So we have to do that. And segmenting them off to their own data center here in the building will fortify that even more.
And this was all predicated, as I understand it, and this is where my layman terms are going to come in, because the access had to not only be from us out, but from them in.
Correct.
And we have to have that firewall for everything that we have that has to do with utilities, and there's very stringent rules there as well. So that's why it's being.
If I may underscore what you just brought up, Mayor, that is one of the very reasons why. During my initial conversation with the chief at a mutual meeting, where am I going with this piece? Because we outsource right now for our data services. And for me to have control of that, using multiple outsource vendors, there's no way for us to control to the level that CGIS wants.
Okay, any other questions? Well, thank you very much for your work, Sue, and glad.
Thank you.
Hope we can make this all work.
Thank you,
for the
sir.
opportunity.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you for the support.
Okay, we are on to committee referrals. Are there any committee referrals? Seeing none? Okay, new business. Counselor Ilvento.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution R-16-12-118. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize Mayor Marion Galbraith to execute an easement to the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation to install and maintain traffic signalization devices and apparatuses over a portion of land located at 1240 Pequannock Road, Groton, Connecticut, for the consideration of $500 and no cents. I so move.
Second.
Phew. Okay, it's actually a pertinences. So just to make sure we have it clear. Any questions
I'm
or
sorry.
comments? That's okay.
I'm
It's a
sorry.
lot like bituminous. Any other questions? Seeing, I hope you don't mind. It's just a friendly.
We need like a
What
word
was the
wall
word
back
we
here, like
used?
at school.
We had another word recently. What was that one?
Yeah, we did.
We had another one. We'll think of it. Okay. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining. Counselor Rust.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution R-16-12-119. Therefore, it be it resolved that the mayor and council authorize the police department to accept a grant from the Department of Transportation Office of Highway Safety for the FY 2016 Comprehensive Driving Under the Influence DUI Enforcement Program in the amount of $9,500, of which 75% or $7,125,000, no, $7,125 is funded by the state of Connecticut, and 25% or $2,375 is funded by the City of Groton Police Department. I so move.
Second.
Chief?
Yes. This is the yearly grant we apply for. It permits 10 days of traffic enforcement. The dates are in windows set by the DOT surrounding holiday time periods. And 10 days, 2 officers, 6 hours shifts, and we have to work within the constraints set by DOT. And it's a 75-25 match, so I have the money for the match in my budget, and this will allow us to accept the remaining funds from the state.
And this is something we do every year.
We
if I
do it
remember
every
correctly.
year, yes.
Any other questions for the chief? Yes, Councilor Heed.
Are there any reporting requirements or anything like that we have to
Oh, yes.
valid? Oh, okay.
We, after every shift, the officers fill out an actual report that has to be forwarded up to DOT. We can also use this money for regional DUI enforcement. So, if a town is running a spot check, we don't run spot checks here because of just the nature of the layout of the streets. They don't lend themselves to pass through traffic. But if a town's running a spot check, we can contribute an officer on this grant up there. The only thing we have to do is we select the dates, and if we want to change the dates, we have to get permission from DOT to change dates, even if they're within the window. But there is pretty strict reporting requirements. If you don't, you have to report all the activity that you perform on this, and they accept certain types of activities, such, for example, speeding is considered an important activity. Anything that could cause a fatality in the roadway. Some use it for distracted driving, although you're not supposed to be specifically out there. Some people call it daytime drunk driving, but it is a significant contributor to accidents. So accident reduction is the goal. DUI is the target mechanism to try and go after that.
Yes, Councilor Heed.
Have there ever been any instances where we haven't fulfilled reporting requirements? Like, have we had to give money back, basically? Or?
Oh, no. The reporting requirements they're not onerous reporting, but they are comprehensive statistical type reporting, and we get those done right away.
Okay. So effectively, it improves our service, basically.
Oh, yes, yeah. It allows us to run specialized, DUI enforcement activity, traffic activity. The officers that are on that, it would have to be pretty extraordinary to pull them off of that. Pretty, extraordinary event. They are dedicated to that particular assignment for the shift that they're working, if they're on this federal money.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Abstaining?
Oh, no.
No.
I'm sorry, I thought we were done.
Okay, you want to move to amend the agenda?
I do. I want to make a motion to amend the agenda.
Thank you,
To
Chief.
add the approval of the minute of the committee of the whole meeting minutes
Do we have a second to amend the agenda?
of December 12, 2016.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining. Okay. May we have a motion to approve the minutes of the Committee of the Whole for Monday, December 12th, 2016?
So moved.
Second. Bless you.
You're allergic to those minutes. So that has been moved and seconded?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any additions or corrections?
It doesn't matter, December is misspelled.
We'll correct that. Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining. That concludes our business for tonight.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Before we vote, have a wonderful, wonderful holiday and stay safe.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas. to
Safe
all.
and happy holiday. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining. Thank you very much.